Alright, what's up everyone? I'm James Putnam. I'm Eric Pedersen's grandson. For those of y'all who don't know, his real name is Charles Roland Putnam. He was born in 1928. He had my dad in 61, and then I was born 30-something years after that. And I started following his routine when I was 12 years old. He gave my dad the routine. My dad followed it. I was born, and 12 odd years after that, I wanted to start lifting and get big because I knew he was my grandfather, and I knew I wanted to be big and strong like him. So my dad gave me the routine, and it's a 3-day routine, and I followed it until I was about 17 or 18. Then I switched to a 4-day, then a 5-day, and all. Before I forget, huge shout out to Natty Life for posting about him. It made me really happy to see him on your channel, and I appreciate all the work you do for classic bodybuilding and just bodybuilders from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. I think you're doing great work, and I really love that you're keeping those guys' names alive. So if you haven't, please subscribe to him. It's a great channel, focused on classic bodybuilding and just the natural way of lifting. So appreciate it once again. He also had a 4-day and a 5-day routine that I can go over at a later date. But right now I'm going to bring you the 3-day version, and it's going to give you most of your gains. It is high volume, but if the guys back in the 30s and 40s could do it, we can do it now. So I'm going to go over the routine. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments. Like I said, it's high volume. Each day is pretty packed because it's only a 3-day routine. But I'll go over it, and then I'll go over the 4-day and 5-day routine at a later date. So day 1 is bench press, 5 sets of 5 to 10 reps. I should say first that all these exercises are done for 5 sets. And it's in each rep range. So like his big compounds are 5 sets of 5 to 10. His isolations were 5 sets of 10 to 15. So he would very high reps for the isolations and moderate, basic hypertrophy range for the 5 to 10 reps. So first exercise of the day 1, bench press, 5 sets of 5 to 10 reps. After that, you got barbell row, 5 sets of 5 to 10 as well. And he does it like a pin lay row where you're touching the ground with it and coming up and touching your stomach with it. After that, you got good old fashioned barbell squats for 5 sets of 5 to 10. Ass to grass if you can. But as long as you're squatting and progressing over time, you're doing good. After that, you got lateral raises, 5 sets of 10 to 15. Don't really have to explain that. You're just laterally raising, getting those shoulders big. After that, you got skull crushers for 5 sets of 10 to 15. And he didn't do them. A lot of people do them touching them to the forehead. He preferred them, and I prefer them this way, going past the forehead where you can really get that long head involved, and then coming up and locking out. After skull crushers, you got barbell curls, 5 sets of 10 to 15. If you don't have a barbell, or if you don't want to do a barbell, you can do easy bar curls as long as you got a bar and you're curling it. So that's day 1. Day 2, you got barbell overhead press, 5 sets of 5 to 10. Big key is just to pause, touch the bar to your upper chest, pause, and then fully extend. He believed the pause was very important. He believed it activated the delts more, which I think holds some merit. After barbell overhead press, you got reverse grip bench press for 5 sets of 5 to 10 reps. This is his favorite chest exercise. He believed it really hit the inner chest well. That's a huge amount of bro science, but it's what all the bros believed back in the 30s and 40s. And it does work. It is a great exercise. Not as popular today, but he loved it. After that, you got pull-ups, 5 sets, AMRAP, as many reps as possible. He didn't do them weighted. It's coming back in popularity today, but the chest to bar pull-ups, that was his style. Wide grip, chest to bar. If you can't do chest to bar, just try to get your chin over the bar, and then eventually progress to that chest to bar. After pull-ups, you got deadlifts. This is the only change in his big compounds. He did deadlifts for 5 sets of 3 to 5, just because deadlifts are a bit more taxing, especially in a full body day. It's a big movement, so he focused on that 5 sets of 5 by 5, or 3 to 5 rep range. So after deadlifts, you got tricep pushdowns. You can do rope attachment. You can do a straight bar attachment. You can do like an easy bar attachment. As long as you got a cable and you're pushing down, you're good. You could even change that out for like dips or even a close grip bench if you don't have a cable system. After tricep pushdowns, he's got concentration curls. These are a lot like preacher curls. The only difference is instead of resting your tricep on a pad, you're resting it on your inner thigh and coming up and curling. You can see in old pictures of him, he'd rest on that inner thigh and come up, and he'd be looking at it the whole time, just envisioning that growth. So that's day 2. Day 3, you got barbell incline, 5 sets of 5 to 10 reps. And if you notice with his chest work, it was all done with a barbell. So he didn't really throw in dumbbells till his 4 and 5 day, where he would throw in like chest flies. But most of his gains were made with just a barbell. After barbell incline, you got dumbbell rows. You can do 1 arm or 2 arm. If I'm following this routine, if I was doing it over again, I would do 2 arm. Only reason is because the 2 arm will get the posterior chain involved a little bit more, where you're not, holding yourself up with that 1 arm with the single arm row. So I would do it like a barbell row. I'd touch the ground with them and pull up, and it saves time because you're doing 5 sets of it. After dumbbell rows, you got dumbbell pullovers. I'm really happy to see that these are coming back in popularity. I think they're a great exercise. My grandfather thought it was the best upper body movement you can do, and he wouldn't do them laying on a bench. He would do it laying across the bench, where he would be kind of hanging off a little bit. He'd come all the way down, stretch those lats out, and then come all the way up. There's a lot of tutorials on it, but that was one of his favorite movements. After pullovers, you got dumbbell step-ups for 5 sets of 10 to 15 reps. He would just walk stairs with dumbbells. I did step-ups because I didn't have access to stairs when I was a kid. So he didn't walk the stairs. A lot of those old school bodybuilders would walk stairs, like weighted stair walks, basically. So he really preferred doing that, and that was his leg movement for the 3rd day. After step-ups, you got rear delt flies. He said this was the single best exercise you could do for shoulders. I don't know how much truth that holds. I do them. I love them. I've had good shoulder gains with them, especially in the rear delt. But he said this was his favorite one and the best one to do to give you that wide look. So he would do them, but he would do them with his wrist bent. So he would come out like that, and he just said that would just make you wide as hell, basically. So after rear delt flies, you got the tricep extensions. You can do them 1 arm, you can do them 2 arm. As long as you're behind your head and extending, you're good. After that, you got good old-fashioned dumbbell curls. I would suggest doing them 2 arm and maybe even seated for some back support, because it's just going to be a lot of time to do them a single arm at a time for 5 sets of 15 reps. That's a lot of volume, and just to alternate like that, it's just going to take a lot of time. I'd do them seated if you can. If you're just prefer to do them standing alternated, that's fine too. But that's his routine. That's his 3-day routine. If you got any questions, like I said before, please post in the comments. I will post his 4 and 5 day routine at a later date. I just didn't know if y'all would want that or not, but if y'all do, I'll post it for sure. I love this routine. It's what got me started. I followed it for like 5 or 6 years, probably longer than I should have, but I love doing it. And I did it until I started writing my own routines. And even today, I pull from what he did, because me and him have. I'm assuming we have similar genetics. But yeah, I do a lot of what he does today. I don't really like doing the 5 sets anymore, just because I think once you reach a certain level of strength, 2 to 4 sets is a good range before you add some variety in there. But especially starting out, and if you're only going 3 days, I think 5 sets is awesome. Especially if you're in a range like that, not strictly sticking to a 5 sets of 10. I think 5 sets of 5 to 10 is better than 5 by 10. The reason being is if you're doing 5 sets of 10 reps, you're going to be sandbagging a lot for those first 2 or 3 sets. It probably won't get hard for you to the last set or 2. So he would stay in that range, and as soon as he could stay in that range for all 5 sets, he would add weight over time. So that's basically how you progress at it. That's how he progressed. If you can stay in that range for all 5 of those sets, then you add weight. So that doesn't mean you have to get 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. You just have to be 5 to 10 all the way through. So if like on the last set you get 3 or 4, then stay at that weight and keep trying to get in that range for those sets. But yeah, that's basically it. Like I said, it's high volume, but it's pretty compact because it's only 3 days. You're only in the gym 3 days. When you're not in the gym, he was at home eating as much as he could and doing maybe a little bit of cardio or something like that. He would do abs and calves on his own time. Like he would on his off days, he would do some ab exercises. They really didn't pay too much attention to abs back in the day. It seemed. At least weighted, they had this idea that it was going to make you wider, which I guess it technically might, but I don't care. I think big blocky abs look cool, so I do a lot of abs. But he would do the body weight stuff. He would do the hanging leg raises. He would do the decline sit-ups, which are great movements, but he would not do them weighted, which I'd prefer to do them weighted. And he'd also do calf raises, stuff like that. So just like small little details, forearms, calves, abs on his off days, and then he'd come in and hit these main movements on his lifting days. So if you have any questions, comment, please subscribe if you want to see more. I'm glad to give you all this routine. I'm glad that, you know, people still know who he is, because it makes me really happy to know that. So if you have any suggestions or want any other routines of his or anything like that, just let me know. Thank you.